Welcome to the TLW Podcast. I am Jonathan Pixley here with my co-host and business partner, Dr. Sean Owens. Dr. Owens, welcome back as always.
Glad to be here, Coach.
Glad to have our other partner behind the scenes, Jace Augustus with JCB Media, running the show. Without him, there would be no show. So we are thankful to have him. We also want to thank Kidder Dental, Doctors Dustin and Liz Kidder, for allowing us to use this amazing facility, amazing space to run this podcast. We are certainly blessed to have it. And if you guys need anything done with your teeth, this is the place that you need to come and check these guys out because they do amazing work over here. Today, and as always, we have amazing guests, I feel like, with every pod that we shoot. But today, I want to introduce Thad Rispone to our viewers. First of all, Thad, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me. Humbled.
And Thad is a Baton Rouge native, grew up here in Baton Rouge, went to Bishop Sullivan, was an outstanding high school basketball player, went on to play at the next level, and then has grown up in the business world here in Baton Rouge at ISC Constructors, where he worked in the warehouse in high school. His father was a founder of the business, and then basically you worked your way up through the org chart until today you're the executive vice president and pretty much running the show over there. Branduated from LSU, I think, right?
I did, yeah.
Okay, and then you live here in Baton Rouge, obviously, with your wife, Brandy, and four amazing daughters. We were talking about the fact that you have four daughters. God bless you, first of all. I have two, and I still don't know how they let me live in the house anymore, but, I guess...
You learn a lot about yourself with daughters, won't you?
You certainly do, yeah. Right? It's crazy. Very active in the community, have served on several boards. You also coached middle school basketball at St. George Catholic School for like 25 years, I think,
yeah.
Is what we heard.
Close to it.
Grades 5th through 8th. So, you have been super active in our community, bring so much to the Baton Rouge area. I know my brother Chris has benefited from your mentorship as well over the years. So again, can't thank you enough for being here. Sure.
Thank you for having me. Pretty big compliment when you say that I was a good basketball player.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know about that, but anyhow. So let's transition right into it. Yeah. So at ISC Constructors, obviously now you're a bigwig, but you started out in the warehouse in a business that your father founded, right? What was it like being involved in a business that your father was ultimately operating at the time, just to start off with?
So it's a unique perspective when you're the son of a founder. So he and his brother started ISC in 1989 with the vision to be the best electrical contractor in the Baton Rouge to New Orleans market, and pretty much invested in his life savings. He was 39 years old. He had just retired. My father did. Jerry was in his 20s. Jerry's his brother. And they said that they wanted to start their own company, and they wanted to do it from scratch. So he invested his entire life savings to start ISC. We started in a 16 by 64-foot trailer on property on Highland Road and had folding chairs, and you invite the banks in and the insurance companies, and you had a big vision. But it's hard to see that vision when they're swatting flies and sitting on folding chairs and tables. So he and Jerry have done a remarkable job. They've been very good partners for a very long time and have grown the company to several thousand employees and over $500 million in sales, and we're working all over the country right now. He wanted me to learn the business from the ground up. And so when they founded the company, I was 18 years old, and several of my friends started with me. And they were not necessarily in construction management like I was, but they needed to pay for college. So my dad and Jerry put them to work too. So we would cut grass, we would wash trucks, we would clean equipment, we'd bend material and so forth. And then in the summers, we would work in the field sometimes and learn the business. So rode the bus in with everybody, went to the same lunch stints, the porta cans, the whole thing. So I think the biggest thing that I learned, and I'll get to answering your question, was about the people. And business is all about the people. And Jerry has made this comment a few times. Without people, it would just be tools and trucks and buildings just sitting there. It's the people that make everything run. So from the very beginning, they wanted to hire the best people, and they wanted to train those folks and give them the tools that they needed to succeed. Working for a family, well, you call it a family business. Now I'm the president of ISC today. It's taken me 30 years to get there, Chris, so I don't know if they ran out of options or what, but I'm happy to be there and humbled by it. It's personal to me. We're competitive by nature, but it's personal because it was family that started it from the very beginning.
You mentioned all the odd jobs that y'all more or less ran for the company when y'all first started out. Coach Pixley alluded to it earlier that you started out in the warehouse. You said that you learned that so much of the business is people. Can you talk with somebody about the challenges that it might have, things that you had to face being, you're the son of one of the founders? Was that difficult at any time with being in that position and working with individuals that you're around day in and day out?
It is. You have to. I tried not to put my last name on my very first hard hat, but they knew who I was and they knew I was coming.
Yeah.
So you have to work harder than everybody else.
Yes.
Or you have to work harder than what they expect you to work.
Yeah, you earn it. Yeah.
You have to really earn it, and I think that's one reason why Dad wanted me to start off in the field.
As you're moving up the organization's ladder, you've got these opportunities to evolve into bigger and bigger things. What were some of the tools that you used to achieve the success that you achieved along the way?
Curiosity.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Staying curious, always learning. I've gone through stages where I felt like, oh, wow, I have this. I really do. And as soon as you think you have it, you really don't. Mm-hmm. So staying curious was real important, and I've learned that. Probably, I guess, 10 to 15 years ago, probably 15 years ago, I told my wife, I want to reach out to someone that's not family, that maybe would invest in me. And she says, okay, tell me more about that. And she's from Houma, and she has a different perspective than I do. Her dad was a commercial shrimper, smart guy, great family, and so forth. And she said, so what do you plan to do? I said, well, I've identified a couple people. I think I'm going to reach out to them and ask them if they would visit with me every so often so I could learn from them. And she said, okay, let me get this straight. So you're going to reach out to a total stranger and you're going to ask them to visit with you and ask them to be your friend, essentially. And I said, well, I didn't think about it like that. That really wasn't my mindset, but yeah, I guess so. So I did, and it was amazing. The gentleman that I reached out to first, I felt had the faith, the family, the values and purpose in life that I was looking for, in a different perspective than just maybe your father or uncle that you're visiting with every day. And he said yes, absolutely. And so from that point forward, we would meet every so often, and I'd be able to share things with him and ask him questions. And so that was a big help. And what I've learned from that is any type of new idea that I have or new skill that I'm trying to learn, I find people that have that and I reach out to them. And I'll call them my starting five, which I've mentioned to you before, Chris. My girls and my wife, I call them my starting five. I think everything starts there. But I've also done that in business. When I'm looking to learn something or I'm venturing off I'll try and find 4 or 5 people that I could learn from.
Love it.
We at TLW here, whenever we're working with clients, one of the first things that we do is we try to help them identify, their, I guess, self-perceived strengths and weaknesses, right? What they think they're really good at and what they think that they struggle with. And when we talk about weaknesses, it doesn't have to be anything that's just this incredible downfall, right? It's just something that they feel like I could probably use a little help in, a little improvement, because it paints a picture for them and really creates a path for us to help them holistically with what it is that we're trying to do, whether it be, some type of mindset training, whether it be nutrition, whether it be whatever it is, right? And so when you, and as you've obviously come up through the ranks and gotten to where you are today, like I told you, my brother Chris is somebody who has benefited from your experience, right? And your knowledge, not just in the business world, but probably how to handle people and deal with people as well. And he views me as a mentor as well, but I'm still big brother, right? And so you're a different voice, kind of like what you're talking about when you reach out to people. What did and maybe you would still view them this way. When you were first starting out and trying to learn the business, what did you view as your biggest strength and your biggest weakness? And then have those things changed today?
It's a great question. And they have evolved. I think we're always evolving.
Right.
Biggest strength was I loved people. I was very outgoing, got to know people really, really well. I cared about people. So the people interaction was probably my biggest strength. The technical skill when you're starting off is non-existent. And still today, I would say that I depend on a lot of people with that technical skill. So I don't know if it's changed a whole lot. Some are a little bit more pronounced. And living with 5 women in my house, I've learned a whole lot more about my deficiencies.
Whether or not you agree, yeah.
Doesn't necessarily have to agree. It's a fact, yeah. In their opinion. Yeah.
What about weaknesses?
The weaknesses.
Or weakness. You know, there's one thing that you realized as you were coming up, and even today, maybe you're like, man, I still struggle with this. Maybe.
I'm an emotional guy.
Okay.
So I attack things. So I think trying to have the patience is to let things evolve. You know, so when you're that way, sometimes you tend to micromanage, and the more and more people that you're working with and around, and maybe for you, you have to learn to put them in the right spot, give them the freedom to be able to see it how they see it, and get to accomplishing the goal of what the organization's trying to accomplish. So I would say I probably started off more as a micromanager, and some would say maybe I still overcomplicate things. My wife will definitely attest to that.
Right.
But yeah, that would probably have been my biggest weakness.
I think, you know, I can relate to that. I have been accused, and I don't know where this comes from, okay, but I have accused of occasionally being a control freak. And so because of that, and, you know, 2 former players here are not allowed to say anything, but I think that comes from, look, oftentimes when I see people who have to have control, it's either lack of trust in others or an insecurity about themselves, okay? I would like to think it's not an insecurity about myself. Maybe it is some type of subconscious thing, but I know that I have had a lack of trust in others. It's kind of a, well, if you're going to do something right, you might as well do it yourself,
right,
kind of thing, right? Any of that involved in where you're coming from?
Yeah, I describe it as the goldfish in the bowl. You have to make the bowl bigger, and the goldfish grows a little bigger. If you keep the bowl the same size, the goldfish stays the same size. And so I've had to learn that. I really have. You have to trust people, and you have to invest in people, and you have to give them their freedom to be creative and get to the goal and to the finish line in the way they see fit, as long as it fits into what the company's trying to accomplish.
Can you share with us any specific mentors or individuals that have poured into you as you've grown more and more into the leadership position that you're in?
Without a doubt, my father,
Mm-hmm.
my uncle, Jerry, my mother. She passed away. She was 55 years old. She was a very good counterbalance of my dad. And sometimes it's intentional, the mentorship, and sometimes I just observe.
Yeah.
So there's been, I'll float in and out of people. Chris, your brother's, I would say he's an inspiration to me, and how he carries himself and what he's been through in his life, and the way he continues just to go forward. Mm-hmm. Life has such a way of just kicking you. And it's really living the vision and not necessarily your circumstances.
Yeah.
And people like Chris lives that vision, and he just keeps going forward. So people like that inspire me along the way. I'm always looking for people to inspire me.
Yeah.
I think too, when you deal with mentors, like, you know, we play for coaches, right? And sometimes you play for coaches that you learned a lot of what to do, and then you play for some coaches that you learned a lot of what not to do, right? Sometimes I view the what not to do almost as valuable as the what to do. Did you have any coaches like that as you were growing up? Like my guy, and he actually came on not too long ago. He's our mayor today, Sid Edwards, was my coach that I remember. I would run through a wall for this guy because he showed a level of belief in me that I was forming, but I didn't quite have at the time. Mm-hmm. And by the time he got done with me, I felt like I probably thought I was way better than I really was, but I actually ended up, so if my thought process was I'm here, but I'm really here, well, now I'm at least probably here because I at least believed that I was up here, right? And so he made me believe that. Did you play for any coaches like that?
When I went to Nichols, Coach Ricky Broussard, it was his very first year
Okay.
there as well. So I felt like we didn't have a very good year the first year. And I remember going up to him afterwards and saying, Coach, we're going to get there. And so I was kind of helping him help me. He gave me my first opportunity,
Right.
or an opportunity to play college basketball. He inspired me a lot. He was one of those. Do you know Ricky Broussard?
He was the second person to offer me a scholarship.
There you go.
I've known him for years. Yeah.
At Nichols?
At Nichols.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Sure did. Yeah.
Golly, you'd have been so much better than me. He was a positive guy, and he always invested in you, made you feel good about yourself.
Yep.
He would write you letters. He was a really
Genuinely good guy.
Genuine guy.
Yeah.
Really genuine. And we still talk today.
That's awesome.
We had lunch a few months ago here in Baton Rouge. He came in.
Yeah, his brother Danny is a super successful coach at St. Thomas More, where we have a great relationship as well. But I remember, it's kind of tangent here, Coach Broussard, we played, talking about Ricky, we played Nichols in, I think I was like a junior in college. We played him in a tournament at Iowa State. I'll never forget this. And a buddy of mine, Kendrick Franklin, played on that team.
He was good.
Right. Some guys that I played with Reggie Jackson and AAU, like some guys that obviously.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so after the game was over, we blew them out. And after the game was over with, I saw them in the hotel, and Coach Broussard walks up to me. He goes, "Hey, I really like that motion offense that y'all run. How long did it take to put it in?" I said, "Coach, I've been here 4 years because I had a medical red shirt because of a knee." I said, "I've been here 4 years and I'm still trying to figure it out." And so sure enough, I saw Kendrick that summer, and he was like, "Yeah, Coach Broussard tried to put the motion in the next week." I was like, "Didn't work out, did it?" He's like, "No, it didn't work out."
That's funny.
Interesting.
I used to love imitating him in the locker room before the games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think all players love imitating their coaches.
They do.
I've often said I would love to see it. I know these guys probably would have great imitations of me, but I know there was one guy in particular, one of my best friends in the world. His son played for me, and is the only person that's ever showed me the imitation, and it did make me laugh. It was not disrespectful and made me laugh. Okay, so. You transitioning, into coaching, actually. I know you coached middle school basketball at St. George for 25 years. First of all, obviously, you were drawn to the game because you played the game for such a long time. But what kept you coaching it for that long, and what was the fulfillment that you got out of that?
I'd have to ask you the same question, but I bet it's the same. It's the adrenaline of investing in someone else and transferring knowledge to another human being. And they all receive it differently. I've told many people it's like getting an MBA. It really, or maybe better.
No doubt.
You're having to transfer this knowledge to another human being, and then at different levels, different skills, and especially in middle school, they all come in different shapes and sizes and skill levels. And then you winning and losing 30 times in a season. Mm-hmm. And I guess I love the fact that you can work and mentor those young men and women, I guess, boys and girls. At the beginning of the year, we would always get them to write down their personal and team goals.
Nice.
Handwritten. And I keep them. And through the years, I'll send them back. They might be a high school graduation, college graduation, just got married, maybe their first baby. And it's so funny to see how their goals change.
Yeah.
I just want to be a good big brother, or I want to get a basketball goal at the house, or I just want to get a C in English or something. And now their goals are much bigger than that. So
it's interesting. So
I use it as a ministry maybe more than just basketball.
Love it. And I think it has to be if you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
Right. It's interesting you bring that up, and you asked me why. And so when I stepped away from high school coaching, people ask, "Why are you doing that? Why would you do that? You've got that on lock, and right." But I want to be challenged all the time, right? And so I wanted to see how well the principals that I learned how to, give others as a coach, how they would transition into the business world. And I thought that there was some synergy there, but I didn't realize exactly how seamlessly they would. And it's incredible to see with our clients that, at the end of the day, people ask me all the time, like, are you, do you miss coaching? I'm like, no, because I still am. I'm just not coaching high school basketball, right? Yeah. And so as we coach here at TLW, I look at it and go, wow, the same things that I helped, this guy as a young guy with it, and Jace, who's still a young guy, not that you're not young anymore, but you're just not as young as he is, right? I think they translate so easily to the business world, to your personal world, to your spiritual world, to all the things that you're involved with. So did you find that coaching, even though it's middle school kids, did you find that it actually helped you in the business world as well?
Oh, absolutely. A better communicator, a better leader. I would say a more humble leader, because when you just start out, you think that everybody's going to do it the way you do it. They understand it the way you're going to understand it. You're just going to deliver it. They get it or they don't get it. But when you're coaching, you can't take that philosophy, because you have to win with a team. And in business, you have to win with a team too. It might be a bigger team, and there might be more at stake than maybe a first grade,
right.
a trophy at the St. George tournament, which is
big.
What? That's big.
What? To those first graders,
yeah,
there's nothing bigger than that, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And so, but there's still the drama that you're going to have when you get into the big business world as well. So, yeah, I would definitely agree with you.
Would you mind giving us a brief idea about what you look at or how you define success? And on the heels of that, how you define success now, and if that's something that has evolved for you over the years?
I would say there's a lot of books on success. Mm-hmm. You could read The Pyramid with Coach Wooden, and I don't think you ever achieve success. Mm-hmm. I think you momentarily achieve something that you think is success, but it's evasive. You're always changing. Your competition is always changing. So it has to be internally. And you have to have this peace that you have given everything that you have, and you have achieved maybe everything that you've wanted to achieve. And then I think at that point, you can only define success by the others that maybe you've impacted in your life. Have they achieved things that maybe they wouldn't have achieved unless y'all were working together? And so it's an internal kind of thing. I know it's a competitive thing, and we're always trying to look for success, but I think you truly can't define success or say you succeeded until you really impacted others.
I think, and we've actually mentioned this before on a podcast, so you mentioned working together and the importance of that. The first state championship we ever won whenever I was coaching, there's this build up, and we win the game in kind of crazy fashion at the end, and we're on the bus ride home, and when you would think that there would be a lot of celebration, right? We're driving back from Lake Charles. It was quiet. It was dead quiet, and it was quiet because for a multitude of reasons, but really because it was almost like a sigh of relief, like, okay, we did it, And what that let me know, that ride home, I remember thinking, we didn't go about this the right way. We got it done, but we didn't go about it the right way from a leadership standpoint, because I probably put too much emphasis on the outcome. And so when we got to the outcome, or we got to the game to get to the outcome, we didn't play well. We won the game, but we didn't play well. And that was because there was so much pressure that we put on ourselves to perform. And it was almost like, thank God that we didn't blow it, as opposed to, hey, we won the state championship. Right. And so the next two, I think we dealt with a lot better from a celebratory standpoint. So I think you hit it on the head, right? You can, maybe you never achieve, I guess, what certain people consider success, but when you do realize along the way that the journey is the success, right? I think that's kind of what you're alluding to, right? Yeah. Who you've impacted and so on and so forth, right?
It's a process for sure.
So we're going to transition here. Here at TLW, we operate, everything that we do is based on 5 pillars, okay? I'm going to list all 5 for you. And I want you, all 5 of them are going to be things that you have used in your life, in your career, to get where you have gotten. But I want you to pick one, okay, that you feel like this is the one probably that stands out to me more than any others. And you're not allowed to choose the first one because it's honor God above all else, okay? And so that's an obvious one, okay? So pick one of the next 4. Discipline is diligence. Value people over self. Lead through service, not self. And I'm sorry, number 3 is value people over profit. Then lead through service, not self. And then build legacy through integrity. Which one of those 4 stands out the most to you?
They're all important, especially number 1.
Yep.
I have learned that without integrity, you really don't have anything. So I would probably say leading with integrity. Is that what?
Build legacy through integrity.
Build legacy through integrity. I think that's where you're going to have the biggest impact.
And so if you talk about your legacy, which is still being written right now, right? When we are done here on this earth, what do you hope that your legacy is, at least in the eyes of others?
I hope they see through my children God. Our children are our legacy. People you work with are a legacy, and you can call them family. And that's true. When you're working with them and you pick people to surround yourself with that are very similar to what you are, or maybe better in a lot of ways. Certainly the case with me. Everybody that I work with is smarter and more talented than I am. I think at the end of the day, you're going to be judged by a lot of things. And if you're looking at legacy, it's your children and how impactful they are. Do they live with purpose? Do they live with faith? So I would probably say that. It's a very good question. I haven't thought about that. I hope I have a long time left.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, no doubt.
On the subject of your family,
Yeah.
you obviously have had to work, I'm sure, some long hours over the years as you're simultaneously raising your daughters with your wife. Do you have any pieces of advice for busy young professionals raising families? And then talk to us a little bit more about the importance of your starting 5 and what they mean to you.
So yeah, faith, family, friends, purpose, or foundation, and you have to have that foundation in your life. When people tell you that, the 3 legs of the stool, they use all these examples, and you have to keep them all the same. It's impossible to do that. You're going to have one that's consuming you a lot more than the others, but you do have to have that in your mind, that balance and what's most important to you. When I talk to young people, and they'll ask that question quite often, you have to pursue everything with just unbridled passion. Everything. It's whether you're working, it's your physical fitness, whether it's your family, it's your friends. You just have to invest in them like crazy, and it's never going to be the same. You just can't get them all. You can't get it out of whack too far. Some people give up family. They give up everything in pursuit of a passion. Could be a hobby, a golf. It could be business. And when you look at them, they're a train wreck in other parts of their life. The ones that I admire are the ones that might work 60, 70, 80 hours a week, but they're always at the T-ball games, or they're doing homework with their kids at night, or they go on vacation with their family. They invest in their families and your faith.
Yeah. Tied in with that a little bit, talk to us about any specific daily habits, routines, or anything that keeps you grounded spiritually, mentally, and emotionally.
Good question. I work out probably 3 to 4 days a week. That's at the beginning of the year. I write in my Constitution what I want it to look like that year. So in 2026, it'll be a financial piece, what I'm trying to accomplish, how am I investing in myself from a financial piece, your family, how am I investing in my family, how am I going to be present with them when I need to be. and when sometimes those girls don't want you to be either. The faith side is very important as well, and then friends. So I call it a constitution, but at the beginning of the year, I'll write certain minimums that I have to do all of those things, either daily or weekly. And then I benchmark it throughout the year.
How long have you been doing that for?
Probably 10 years.
Okay. I found it easier to stay on course by doing that, I assume, huh?
I do.
Yeah.
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 I'll jump into reading a lot. About 4 or 5 years ago, I started reading a good bit, and I had goals, how many books I wanted to read in a year, and it just got to be such a chore that I just gave up keeping count of that and just started just reading
doing it for
for
fun?
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What caused you to start with the Constitution? I know you said about 10 years ago. What caused you to start that?
We were doing it at work, and you do it with teams you're coaching, but I found I wasn't doing that in my personal life.
Interesting.
So if I'm going to be that intentional in other parts of my life, why am I not being that way in my personal life?
And in intentionality, you know, I think we would both agree as girl dads, right? That if you are not intentional, they're going to see through you, right, right out the gate. As a father of 4 daughters, which is again twice as many as I have, and I feel overwhelmed. You call them and your wife Brandy your starting 5, which means you're coming off the bench.
No doubt.
Okay, I agree. I'm coming off the bench even though I've only got 3.
I'm
right?
used to being on the bench.
Just talk about what they mean to you and why you go about things the way you do, you know, for them, so on and so forth. Just the impact that they have in your life on a daily basis.
They're reflections of us. They are. They're very important. Brandy and I, we wanted to have children to be active with them and to raise them and enjoy them, and we do. And they mean the world. They mean the world to me. So from a basketball, I guess since I started calling my starting 5 probably 15 or so years ago. And it just it helps me zero in and say, okay, when all else is going around you, this is my starting 5. That's where I'm going to get back to. And I've taken that same term and used it, like we talked about earlier, in another skill that I'm trying to learn, or maybe something else I'm involved in. I'll create another starting 5.
Awesome. Okay, one more question for you, and this is
It's like couples therapy right here. I do like this.
it is kind of. I'm trying not to
Yeah,
look
yeah,
at
look
him.
like-
Yeah, if he can, yeah. Notice I'm butted up all the way on the other side.
I have some questions Sean wanted me to ask you too.
Yeah,
Part 2's coming up shortly.
Maybe 2.0.
I have something to do. I don't know what it is, but something other
Got
than
that thing.
So we ask every guest this, okay? You are sitting across the table from, we'll say, 18-year-old Thad Rispone. And you know what you know today, but he doesn't because he's 18-year-old you, okay? And you can only offer him one piece of advice to help him in any way, shape, or form moving forward. What is that one piece of advice that you offer him?
Oof, that's a great one. I would say you're going to have fun in college, but you need to make sure you pick the right woman to marry,
Oof.
because that's going to dictate a lot of your happiness. It's going to dictate a lot of what you would perceive your success. And I did. I hit a home run.
When you say it's going to dictate a lot, go a little further with that if you don't mind.
Well, life can beat you up, like we talked about earlier. And you're pursuing your passions and your dreams, but you're going to come home at some point, and you need to have that rock there. You need to have someone to share it with and talk to. And I just think that with the right partner in life, you can battle anything that's going to come at you.
That's
And
awesome.
so I think that's probably the most important thing that I would tell my 18-year-old self. Go have some fun, but when it's time to pick someone, make sure you're picking someone that is going to be your partner for life.
Really impactful stuff. All of our guests give this, but you brought a different perspective today. We really, really appreciate you jumping on with us. And can't thank you enough. Again, I know, your relationship with my brother, it means a lot to me because first of all, he's a handful to deal with. We know that, but also
Is he really the best Pixley athlete?
not even close.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
You're starting something.
He won't
Thad.
make the mistake of telling you that either. He's better at a lot of things than I am, though, for sure. But I will say that the time we spent with you here today, there's an obvious a calm that you provide when you walk into a room, and an even keeledness. I don't know if that's really a word, but we just made it one. And so I can see unquestionably not only why you're successful professionally, but why you have the impact on so many people, because your reputation precedes you. So again, really, really appreciate you coming on, and wish you nothing but the best forward. For
Same
sure.
to y'all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thad.
Do I
Appreciate
get
it.
a free dental cleaning too?
Can make that happen.
We can
Don't
make
worry
that
about
up?
it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Y'all been great.
Thank you.
Look forward to watching y'all's success as well.
Absolutely. And for Dr. Sean Owens, I am Jonathan Pixley. For Jace Augustus, we will close here on the TLW podcast. As always, go get it.